Is there a chance that the San Antonio Spurs miss the playoffs in the 2019 season? The Spurs have been the model franchise in the NBA for the last 20 years, going from David Robinson to Tim Duncan, Manu, and Tony Parker to Kawhi Leonard, and now DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge leading the team in 2019. They've consistently had a very talented roster and have 5 championships to show for it. Now, could this be the year the Spurs stop their streak of going to the playoffs for, I think, 19 years in a row or something like that and finally miss the playoffs? I think there is a definite chance that they miss the playoffs this year. They are one of the more talented teams in the Western Conference with DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge, two, I think, consensus top 30 players. DeMar being borderline top 20 player, I think a definite top 25 player, and you could definitely make a good case he's top 20 after last season, his improved playmaking and three-point shot. However, it's not all about talent. It's, really about how the talent fits together and how the talent is utilized. And this talent, or the talent on the Spurs, doesn't fit together at all. Um, First of all, I want to talk about their spacing. They have pretty much none of it. Um, you go in their starting lineup. Patty Mills at point guard, very good shooter. You have DeMar DeRozan at shooting guard, not a good shooter. You have Rudy Gay at small forward, another not good shooter. You have LaMarcus Aldridge at power forward, another not good shooter. Pau Gasol at center is unfortunately Pau Gasol is their second best shooter in the starting lineup, which really says a lot about their shooting. And Pau's a decent shooter for his position. I think he shoots like 34% on 1.5 a game, which isn't good, but as far as centers go, it's not bad. Being able to stretch the floor as a center is always good to have. However, just imagine a scenario where LaMarcus Aldridge is in the post, Aldridge being probably the best post player in the league right now. Imagine him in the post, he's working in the post, and he's going up for a turnaround jumper, a turnaround post fade, and in comes a second defender to help. Who does he pass to? No one. DeMar DeRozan's at the top of the key. He's not going to be able to make the shot. And realistically, the defense can help off of anyone except Patty Mills, and they'd really be okay. I think you really want to help off of LaMarcus Aldridge first, and then I'd say probably Rudy Gay, and then DeMar DeRozan, and then Pau Gasol. I don't think they want to help off of Patty Mills at all. Mills is just, I mean, that good of a shooter, unless, of course, they just get rotations well. Um, Another scenario, DeMar DeRozan handling the ball top of the key. Maybe he calls an isolation. He wants to do, I don't know, a pull-up mid or so. And in comes a second defender. What's he going to do? Pass it to, LaMarcus Aldridge out of the corner. That's not going to go in. That's going to be, I mean, Aldridge shoots like 28% from three. That's almost a definite miss, especially if the defense can close out on him. That's going to be a big problem, especially in a league dominated by shooting. It's no coincidence that the top teams in the league each year are some of the best shooting teams in the league. You have the Warriors, Rockets, and Celtics, three of the best teams in the league. I think three of the top four teams, and they are, I think, the top three shooting teams. I think the Raptors are also maybe top seven, and they're probably the other team in the top four at least for this upcoming season. Next thing I want to talk about is the defense. On paper, the Spurs are not one of the worst defensive teams, but they have a very bad defensive starting lineup, and their bench is also not that good. Point guard Patty Mills is a horrible defender. DeRozan's another horrible defender. Rudy Gay's not a bad defender at power forward. However, he's playing small forward where he's not going to be able to defend threes. LaMarcus Aldridge is not a good defender. Pau Gasol is a solid defender, but I mean, when Pau Gasol is your best defender, there's a problem. When Pau Gasol is your second best shooter and best defender in your starting lineup, that starting lineup has issues, no question. Now onto the bench at point guard. At least until Derek White is out, I don't know who's going to be their point guard because it could be pretty much anyone. Um, I have no idea who it'll be, but when Derek White comes back, you'll see. I mean, he's a decent defender, maybe a bit below average. You're gonna have Bellinelli at shooting guard. He's another pretty bad defender. Small forward could be Lonnie Walker. He's another not good defender. You got Quincy Pondexter, another not good defender. Um, Davis Bertans, another not good defender. You also have Jakob Poeltl, who's a really good defender. Joffrey Laverne, meh, below average defender, I'd say. On paper, this roster is just defensively a nightmare. Now, Greg Popovich, of course, the best coach in the NBA. Um, he always, and the best defensive coach too. He always seems to make his rosters, way better on defense than they really should be. Is this the year it stops? Maybe. I mean, on paper, they probably have, if I were to just take a guess, maybe like the 23rd best defense in the league, which is pretty bad. Can Pop get that to league average? I don't think so. As good as Greg Popovich is, and he is the best coach in the league, and it's not really a question, I just don't think that he can take this roster to a mid-tier defensive team, especially with Dejounte Murray, their best defender from last year by far, one of the best defenders in the league last year, actually, going down for the year. And Dejounte Murray is really, before he got injured, he was going to be the MVP of the Spurs team. While he's not the best player, of course, DeRozan is, I would consider, the best player, and then I'd go, obviously, LaMarcus Aldridge. They aren't as valuable as Murray because you take away DeRozan, you still have a guy like LaMarcus Aldridge who can put up 25 points per game, and vice versa. You take out LaMarcus, you still have DeRozan getting points. Points isn't really the issue; it's more the defense. And that's why Dejounte Murray is just so valuable because if Dejounte Murray is healthy and he's playing next to DeRozan, they can hide DeRozan on defense, which is huge because DeRozan's a very poor defender, and Dejounte can guard the best guard on the other team, and their defense gets so much better if Dejounte's healthy. Unfortunately, he's not. He's out for the year with a torn ACL, and their defense is going to take just a huge hit. Now, the next thing I want to talk about, also transitioning into Dejounte, is their point guard situation. Currently, they have Patty Mills and Derek White as the listed point guards on the roster. Currently, Derek White is injured, I believe, for 4 to 6 weeks, I think it is. So about a month or so, 1 month and a week or something like that. And who do they have at backup point guard until he's healthy? It could be Lonnie Walker, except he's also out for the next for 1 to 2 weeks. What they may end up doing, and I hope they don't, is starting DeRozan at the 1 and putting Mills at backup point guard. I hope they don't do that because DeRozan would get just absolutely lit up by opposing point guards. That would just be so bad on defense. I really hope they don't do that. One option they have is to run a bench unit with Bellinelli, Quincy Pondexter, Davis Bertans, Dante Cunningham, and Jakob Poeltl. Now I think they at least run with this lineup until Lonnie Walker gets back, and then they could probably put Walker at point guard and take out Quincy Pondexter. However, even if Walker is healthy for the start of the season, which he won't be, even when Walker comes back, this is still going to be a poor bench unit, especially on defense. One thing I see people saying is that, oh, DeMar DeRozan is an All-NBA guy, LaMarcus Aldridge is an All-Star, this is such a talented team, and with Greg Popovich, they're easily getting a top 6 seed. That's just ludicrous. That's not happening. I think locks in the playoffs are going to be the Warriors, Rockets, Thunder, Jazz, and Lakers. I definitely see the Nuggets finishing higher than the Spurs and also the Wolves, considering they're keeping Jimmy Butler, for better or for worse. That leaves the Pelicans and the Wolves for the last 2 spots in the West, and the Pelicans are just a much better constructed team. They have shooters around Anthony Davis. They have 3-and-D guys around Anthony Davis. They have a second scorer in Drew Holiday. They have good front court pairings with Nikola Mirotic and Julius Randle. It's just a much better constructed team than the Spurs, and that's why I think the Spurs will actually miss the playoffs this season for the first time in, I think, 19 or 20 years.